Okay, so today I'm working on my BMW 330 Ci. This is my personal car here. I'm going to be doing some preventive maintenance on it and some upgrades too. The first upgrade I'm doing is a aluminum water pump pulley. The stock ones are known to crack because they're made out of plastic. Really stupid idea. They should have been like this from the factory. Also, I am doing another part that's made out of plastic on these cars is the thermostat housing itself, made out of plastic. Another stupid idea. Great cars, bad idea. I'm doing an aluminum thermostat housing, fits also. And I'm also doing, this is also the preventive maintenance. My car does have 131,000 miles on it right now, so I might as well change the lower coolant hose with a brand new one, Contitech. Also a upper radiator hose, brand new. And I'm doing one expansion tank hose that goes from the expansion tank to the block. Just one for right now. Maybe later I'll do the one that goes to the heater core. And if you own an E36 or an E46 model, these are definitely must-do things. Replace those plastic pulleys and plastic parts, and also the bleeder screw. Replace it with a brass one. I already have one. So I'm gonna get started. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be draining the coolant from the radiator, from the expansion tank. I took off the cap to relieve the pressure. I'm also gonna undo the bleeder screw a little bit. There again is my brass bleeder screw. Okay, and I'm gonna come underneath and pretty much here's the bottom of the car. There's the expansion tank screw. It's made out of plastic too. The expansion tank is also made out of plastic. Another stupid idea. I'm waiting for them to come out with an aluminum one. Hopefully one day someone will make one for these cars. And you pretty much just drain it into a bucket with a funnel, so you could reuse it if it's not too old. Okay, now with a 10mm wrench, I'm going to loosen these a little bit first before removing the belt, loosening the tensioner. That way it's easier, it's not free spinning. It's a good idea to do this. Just a little bit, not all the way. Okay, now with a T45 Torx bit, you got to get on that tensioner on the power steering side, and you got to go clockwise to loosen it, and then you could easily remove the belt. See that right there? And this is why it's a bad idea to have plastic pulleys, especially with so much tension on them. I don't know if you can see those cracks right there, but that was starting to fracture. And what happens is these things start fracturing, and before you know it, you're driving down the road one day and they disintegrate, and before you know it, you're walking somewhere. So replace them. Okay, so I got the aluminum pulley in place now and the belt back on. I did notice one of my 10mm bolts that holds down the pulley was actually bent, and that probably occurred when that fractured. So if you have a fractured pulley or a cracked one, you better check your bolts, because I had a bent one. I had these right here laying around the garage. They were painted red, but hey, they work and they're not bent, so I'm gonna go with them. There it is. Now my next step is to replace the plastic housing thermostat. So you do have to pull off the hoses. I'm going to go ahead and pull off all of them right now. It's fairly simple. All you do is position this camera a little bit better. You pretty much just pull these up. I think a screwdriver probably would be better. Yeah, you just pull them all up and they slide off. Pretty easy. So let me get that done. Okay, so I'm removing the thermostat housing already. I got all the hoses off, as you can see. It's pretty easy. You just pretty much pull those clips up and pull them off. Just be careful not to break the plastic neck on the radiator. So it's a couple of 10s further back. Then you have a couple of 13s up front, top and bottom. And that thermostat should come out. I just wanted to show you guys something. In order to access the expansion tank hose a little bit better, on the alternator has a cooling duct. You want to remove that. I have it removed right now. It's pretty easy. It just snaps out of the place, and then you drop it down from the bottom. There's the back of it right there to the block, and then down there for the expansion tank. That's the heater hose one, the first one for the heater core, and the bottom is for the block. So time to remove that too, because that's gonna get replaced. Those are prone to like snap off. I've seen it on like two other BMWs. They just break off, or the clips get weak on them and they just come off by themselves. So it's a good thing to replace that. Okay, so I got all the hoses put on. Didn't take long at all. The bottom one was the hardest one, and that was pretty easy. Got the brass bleeder screw on the new hose here. Everything's hooked up, connected. Got the aluminum water pump in place with some used bolts painted red. They were like that. I found them in the garage. I used them. They work great. There's the aluminum water, thermostat in place. Don't over tighten the nuts on those. The bolts. You don't want to crack that alloy either. Now I'm going to put back together the shroud, the fan, get everything going, and we're going to bleed the system next. Now this is a thing of beauty. Hell yeah. Some good upgrades and preventive maintenance. So here we are. I got everything put back together. The shroud, the fan is spinning real nice. Everything seems really, really good. A common mistake a lot of people make with these cars, the E36, E46 model, and E39, well, I think almost any BMW, when you're bleeding the cooling system, make sure you have the cap off and the bleeder screw open. Start it up at cold. Make sure the car is completely cold, the engine's cold, and you're gonna let it reach normal operating temperature, and you'll start noticing bubbles coming from this thing, and then eventually a steady stream of antifreeze. Once that does occur, you're good. Close it. Don't over tighten it, because you will crack this. It's made out of plastic on the bottom. Put the cap on, drive it around, make sure your heater comes on. Once it does come on, that means that you have bled your system properly, and then you will eventually get a radiator light warning on, letting you know that you have to add more antifreeze because it's run through the system and it ran down a little bit. Other than that, I'm gonna bleed this and make sure everything's okay, and that's awesome. I don't have to worry about a few things, and some things have been replaced. So this is pretty much a job that anyone can do that has any type of mechanical skill. I recommend get on bpdesign.com, eBay, search out your parts, get the upgrades, do it yourself, and save tons of money. And if you don't know how to do it yourself, find a friend that knows how to do it, and you can save yourself tons of money, because if you take it to the dealer, or any type of mechanic that works at a shop, you just get charged an arm and a leg. This is pretty damn easy, and it's something that almost anyone can do that has any type of mechanical skill. So good luck, and get your BMW running properly and get those parts replaced. Very important. Thanks.